Hey guys, it's Nehemiah Davis here. I'm the 29-year-old author, entrepreneur, and philanthropist from Philadelphia, and you are now listening to the College Dropout Podcast.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me today on the College Dropout Podcast. My name is Sierra. I am your host, and you are now listening to the College Dropout Podcast, where we inspire, we empower, and we mentor college dropouts who now want to become entrepreneurs. And yes, if you just flat out skip college, you also qualify for the target audience of this show, guys. Thank you for joining me today. I can't wait to get this interview to you guys. Today, you're going to hear from an amazing entrepreneur from Philadelphia. His name is Nehemiah Davis. He's the winner of the Steve Harvey Neighborhood Award. He also won the very first award that Eric Thomas has ever given out, entitled the Grinder of the Year Award. And he's an author, he's a philanthropist, and he's an entrepreneur. Nehemiah's story is just flat out amazing. You're going to be listening to a guy who decided to become an entrepreneur after he kept getting fired from jobs, and he just told himself, I'm not going to go get another job. I'm going to figure this out. He started out with a fruit cart as one of his very first entrepreneurial ventures, and now he owns a vitamin store. He has a wonderful nonprofit foundation that's helping out the community in Philadelphia, and he also has a great community entitled the Circle of Greatness, where he helps people become entrepreneurs and get their businesses off the ground. Guys, I need you to grab your pen, grab that iPad, grab that phone, grab whatever you need to grab, because you have to listen to Nehemiah's story on how he went from drop out to Grinder of the Year. Thank you, Nehemiah Davis, for joining me today on the College Dropout Podcast. I really appreciate it. I know you're busy. You're someone I admire, so I'm so happy to finally get you on so you can give my listeners some great information in regards to becoming an entrepreneur. How are you today?
Oh, I am amazing. I'm excited. I'm just excited to be on this phone call, so thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. So let's go ahead and get started. I know you have a busy schedule, a busy day. Let's start off by answering the question, you dropped out or you didn't go to college?
I got kicked out. So do I qualify for this podcast? I got kicked out.
Absolutely. We've had a couple of those on here. So
I got kicked out, so I didn't make the cut.
Okay. So tell us that story. What exactly happened that transpired, leading up to you being kicked out of college?
Well, actually, I didn't even know I was going to go to college. Luckily, I got kicked out of high school. I had the opportunity to go to a new school in 12th grade, and luckily there I was awarded the opportunity to go to college. I went to college with an attitude like, hey, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to do great. I'm going to change my life around, and that lasted for about 3 months. So I went back to the normal Nehemiah, surrounding myself with the wrong people, just being a knucklehead, and eventually I got kicked out of college, number one, for surrounding myself with the wrong people, and I had a 1.95 GPA. So they could have kind of let me stay, but, they sent me on my way, which was one of the greatest things that could have possibly happened to me in my life.
And it's funny that you say that, because I always feel like me getting kicked out was one of the greatest things that happened to me as well. But right after that happened, how did you transition from getting kicked out? Did you go through any depression or anything like that? Or were you straight into okay, I just got to hustle?
Well, I went to, hey, I'm going to go get a job. So that was my next step. At this point, I was fired from 9 jobs. So I figured, hey, I might as well go try out number 10. Mm-hmm. So I worked at Atlantic Aviation, which is a private airport. And at this particular job, it actually changed my life. One of my favorite quotes is, once your mind is expanded to a new concept or idea, it's hard to go back to its original way of thinking. So at this job, I had the opportunity to get on Donald Trump's jet, walk around his jet, all white, gold in the entire plane. I had to take my shoes off. That encouraged me, because it actually showed me, hey, I can have this lifestyle. I seen Jay-Z get off his jet. I've been on the owner of the Cowboys jet. I've been on the TD Jakes jet. Wow. And just seeing these people actually showed me, Nehemiah, I can have this lifestyle. So from that point, getting kicked out of college was rough. But once I found that job, I wiped that out of my mind. And working this job changed me because it showed me I can have this particular lifestyle if I was willing to work hard. But again, eventually I got fired from that job. But that was my springboard to actually change my mentality and show me, like, Neo, you can have this exact same life that each and every one of these people have, but you got to take action over your life. You got to be dedicated and determined to your dreams. And from that point on, I just started grinding. Started my very first business after that, getting kicked out. So two of the worst things in my life turned into some of the best things in my life.
And your very first business, you had was it a fruit cart, if I'm correct?
Yeah, a fruit truck, yeah.
A fruit food truck. That's very interesting. So you started out with the fruit food truck, and then like now, you have the vitamin and wellness shop. You have your junk removal business. You have your nonprofit foundation. What were the steps from the fruit truck to the nonprofit foundation? Because that was next after the fruit truck, correct?
Yes. So the fruit truck came years ago. Geez, it's probably 8 years ago. And my mom said, son, you got your first business. We need to start giving back. And all my life, my mom been really pounding give back in my mindset. But I'm like, Mom, I ain't trying to hear it give back. I just want to have fun and live life. But so I decided to listen. She said, son, give me $50. I want to feed the homeless. I gave my mom $50. My sisters and her went and made sandwiches and got juices. She went down one Monday downtown, fed the homeless, came right back in maybe an hour. I couldn't believe that she gave out all them sandwiches. I said, no way, Mom. So I said, all right, I'm going to go. We did it again, and I actually witnessed giving back and making a difference for $50 to be able to serve over 50 people. It was game changer. So from that point on, we've been serving the homeless. We served the homeless consecutively for 6 years from that point. We don't do it every Monday as we did, but we did that for the next 6 years, and we began to implement so many other free programs. I tell people, once that momentum set in, you're going to just keep implementing new things. And that's how we was able to build our nonprofit to what it is today. To date, we have served over 40,000 people, spanning from senior citizens, homeless citizens, and our youth. So, that was just amazing.
That is amazing. And you've received countless awards for your philanthropy in your community. Most recently, you were awarded by Steve Harvey, and then you won the Grinder of the Year award from, the guru himself, Dr. Eric Thomas. I just want to transition a little bit and talk about your grinding as an entrepreneur. Like you said, you got kicked out of college. And I know for a lot of people who don't go or people who just flat out drop out, I think people on the outside looking in assume that we're lazy or that we're just not smart. Like, what do you feel is the biggest myth regarding people who don't finish college yet they go on to become entrepreneurs or they're aspiring to be an entrepreneur?
Well, Mark Zuckerberg, I believe he probably maybe number 4th richest man in the world. He dropped out of Harvard, I believe.
Yeah.
So, that's just a case in point. Like, this man created one of the biggest machines known as Facebook that the world has ever seen, and this man dropped out of college. So I see so many self-made millionaires and billionaires who either didn't go to college or got kicked out or dropped out. So understand, man, success is really about perseverance and your will to just keep pushing. So I don't really think college is even a requirement in this new day and age where you can just get all the information you need off a line. You can listen to podcasts like to get that push. So I really don't think it's a requirement. And now when people say they're not going to school, I don't really see anything wrong with that. If you're willing to grind, if you're going to make a decision that you're going to hustle every single day and work hard towards your dreams.
Right. And I totally agree. I always tell people I have nothing against people who go to college. I actually admire people who can finish, but it's not one of those things that's necessary the way that it used to be. If at any point it was actually necessary. The next thing I want to ask you, like, since you've been on your entrepreneurial journey, like I said, you went from a fruit cart to now you're running a whole company with multiple businesses up underneath it. What has been like the most difficult thing like you faced and your biggest loss, and how did you bounce back from it?
So the question is, what was the most difficult thing I faced as an entrepreneur, pretty much?
Yes.
So I would really say most difficult thing I faced as an entrepreneur is just everyday life, constantly having to self-motivate yourself. I don't think I really faced anything anything too difficult that I couldn't overcome. It's just daily battles of being an entrepreneur. It's not easy. I tell people every single day, if you're entering this thing because you want this freedom, you want unlimited money, do not even enter. Because this thing is serious. It's hard. You got to be willing to grind and hustle hard every single day if you want to be a success. So I really just tell people that, like, really make a decision. Like, be sure that you want to do this, because it's not as easy as it appears to be.
Do you believe that there are certain traits that entrepreneurs have to have in order to be successful?
Oh, absolutely. I certainly believe there are certain traits entrepreneurs have to be successful. Just to share a few, I would say perseverance. Perseverance is an absolute trait you have to become an entrepreneur. There's no way you could be an entrepreneur without perseverance. There's no way you could be an entrepreneur without creating an attitude of a winner, because I tell people every single day you're going to get knocked down. People are going to tell you what is impossible. People are going to discourage you from doing what you got to do, but you must absolutely stay consistent, because in this world, people are going to be quick to try to break you down and tell you what's not possible. A couple other traits I would say outside of creating that winning mindset is just the will to succeed. Like, you have to be hard working. Like, you got to be willing to grind every single day. Like, I tell people, as me being an entrepreneur, I don't have a 9 to 5. It's a when I wake up and when I go to bed. I grind all day until I reach my goals. So you just got to be willing to work hard.
That's a great point. When I wake up and when I go to bed. And I think as entrepreneurs, your brain doesn't ever really turn off. You always have an idea. You always have, figure out a way to make something better. So that when I wake up and when I go to bed piece is I can attest to that. Now, you did go ahead and say that the winning attitude is a must. How did you change your attitude? I mean, because obviously your attitude wasn't the way it is now when you got kicked out of school. So what did you read or what did you watch? Like, what changed your attitude?
You know what? I began to change my attitude after I got fired from that 10th job, and I actually started to see how these other people, created this life for themselves. I stopped using excuses. The reason why a lot of us will never be successful because we use too many excuses. So my first thing was, I said, I'm no longer going to make an excuse about my current situation. I'm going to make a decision to change it. So I started reading books. I read Think and Grow Rich. I read Who Moved My Cheese. I read all those timeless books, and I began to realize in all these books I was reading that all the information is pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. And when I mean when I say it's all the same, it's all timeless information. Think and Grow Rich. What a man can conceive in his mind, he can achieve. So pretty much all them books talk about the same thing. So I began to adopt that mindset. I started to adopt, like, Nehemiah, you can truly have any and everything you want, but it starts with your mindset. So I understand if you believe you can have it and if you're willing to grind hard and work towards it, there's no way you won't achieve a particular desired goal. And you said that was in Think and Grow Rich. Yep. I've been reading those type of books for the last 7 years on and off, but my mindset, I don't have a plan B. So Will Smith says, having a plan B distracts from plan A. So my friend, I had an interview the other day, and he talked about he jumped in the pool all in. So I'm literally submerged in the pool as an entrepreneur. And the reason why I would never look back, because I made a decision. I said, I'm never going back to go work a 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. I'm never giving up. So every single day, my bills keep me moving forward. The look of my family face keep me moving forward. Just my will to want to succeed keep me pumped up and ready to succeed. Because if I don't succeed, I can't provide for my family. So that's. And that's the ultimate why for most people that I talk to, most people who are successful, like it's all about that why, which is, most of the time it is their family, or if it's not their family, well, it is their family. Either they have a family of their own, or like their mother, their father, their grandmother, someone. So that's awesome that's how you got that winning mindset from that particular book. That's actually one books that I cannot finish. I keep saying I'm gonna finish it, but I just can't for some reason. But I need to. Now, since we're talking about, you can. And you can't. You can. You can do whatever.
Absolutely.
I think Confucius says, whether you say you can or you can't, you're both right.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And it's so funny because that's a quote that I use with people all the time. Like, when you say you can or can't, you're absolutely right. But since we are talking about books, I wanted to talk about your book really quick, the Step Into Greatness Journal, which I'm sitting here holding right now. How did you come up with this idea? Because I'm not going to lie, when I first bought it, I thought it was like an actual book, but it's an actual journal. How did you come up with this idea?
So pretty much, one of the reasons why I came up with a journal, because I first understood doing a journal, kicked out of high school, kicked out of college. I tell people, Nehemiah isn't the smartest tool in the tool shed, but he know how to get things done. Mm-hmm. So I already knew autobiography was kind of long and long. I didn't feel like 2 years ago I reached enough success in my life story. So I said, how about I create a book of the things that I actually do now that has allowed me to get to the success that I have currently reached. So what I was able to do was put in all the principles that I currently do, manifest my month, gratitude, affirmations, and put it in a book and create it for other people, because this has helped me achieve success. I'm sure it can help other people. So I decided to do this 2 years ago on my birthday. I got this method. You already know David Shan, Sleepers for Suckers. Mm-hmm. He said, every year we celebrate our birthdays and we're in the absolute same spot we was last year.
Yep.
I'm putting out a book on my birthday. He wound up not doing it, but I wound up doing it. And ever since then, I put a book on my birthday, my last birthday, 2 children's books. So I've been hooked on just putting books out and putting information out that can really help people change the world. Also hear a lot of people say, I just wanted to share this. Mm-hmm. They always say, why should I do a book? Why shouldn't you do a book? Like, I put my book out 2 years ago, and still to this day, I'm able to make money every single day off this book. So I tell people, don't major in minor things. If you had an opportunity to put a book out, do that. Number one, it makes you authority. Number two, you can really help a lot of people, and also can just help your platform as you grow.
And I totally agree. You have a publishing company for books, right? So if anybody is thinking about writing a book, they should definitely contact you so you can become their publisher potentially.
Oh, exactly.
And when you said David Shands, like, David is the reason why I'm not celebrating my birthday in February. I just read his book a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, I can't. That piece in that book was so powerful. I don't know if he understands that the impact on people who are serious, that how that will impact their lives, that whole birthday thing. So that's awesome. And then you just mentioned that why not put out information to change the world? And changing the world is something that I think you're also getting ready to do, as you've recently launched your own community, Circle of Greatness. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, Circle of Greatness. Oh my gosh. I had no clue. I'm gonna be honest with you. I had no clue that Circle of Greatness was going to be as successful as it has been in the last 2 weeks. So last year I did my second conference. First year we had Eric Thomas at the conference. Last year we had Inky Johnson. At the end of the conference last year, we actually launched our membership for Greatness Academy. I think that was the name then. We absolutely had 0 signups. This was earlier this year in March.
Okay.
We just launched it now, and we got over 100 signups in a short 2-week period. So what I'm trying to say is, just because something don't work out at that very moment doesn't mean it's not going to work out at a later time. It just wasn't my time to do Circle of Greatness at that moment. But now is my time, and now a lot of people are tuned in with what we're doing. We're providing resources. Circle of Greatness is an online and in-person community that provides resources, information, accountability, and just we're that fire to push you to reach your goals and dreams. So many people talk about their goals and dreams, but not enough people execute. So we created it to help you execute and to push you out of your comfort zone. A lot of people will be a lot further if they just had someone to hold them accountable and push them. So we created it for that reason. And I'm a connector by heart. Mm-hmm. So why not connect people and really make a massive difference from doing so?
Yeah, I've seen the growth with the Circle of Greatness. Like you said, 100 people in 2 weeks. So I've been watching it, and it's just been amazing. I know you have an amazing group of people who've joined you, and you talked about accountability and how important that is. If you could think back, like, who was the very first person that, like, held you accountable for making sure you got your goals done?
My mom.
Your mom?
For years, my mom been holding me accountable. My mom, still to this day, she calling me every day, son, what's next? Like my mom, the reason I got to be so progressive and always think about the next move, because every single day my mom is calling me, son, what's next? What we about to do? How we going to change lives? What we doing with the foundation? So getting that call from her every day is enough. I don't even need anyone else to hold me accountable, because if no one else is going to hold me accountable, my mom. And what else holds me accountable is, I tell people don't really compare your life to other people, but I look at people who are really out here making an impact, and I see how they're constantly moving and making it happen. So that encouraged me to just stay consistent with my goals and dreams, because if they're out there doing it every day, I also got to be out here doing it.
So how long ago did you tried to launch it in March. But how long have you had this idea? This had to have been something that, has been inside of you for a while. Did you want to create it because it was something that you wish was around when you started, or where did the whole idea even come from?
Well, one of the ideas, I want to say it came from my friend Dom. He's like, Nehemiah, you've been doing this for so long. You need to get paid off of it. So I listened. And guess what? At that time, I wasn't ready. We didn't have the systems in place. So we probably had this idea for more than a year. But when we decided to implement it, it actually didn't work out. So, again, I always say just because it's a delay doesn't mean it's a denial. Like, you have an opportunity to try again and come back a lot better than you did on your first time. So I would say the idea, again, been brewing for over a year. But, again, we had to start implementing it. When you start executing on things at all time levels, that's when, your life and opportunities can really help people.
That's awesome. And if you would, could you explain to my listeners because I'm pretty sure I have a few people listening who need the Circle of Greatness community. What are the three different levels, or where can people get more information regarding the levels and how they can join?
Our site is actually about to be built out. It's funny you asked me, because our site literally at this moment isn't even built out. And for us to have so many members already is like insane, because people want to join. People want to be a part of a group that's being progressive, that's holding you accountable and helping you get to the next level. So the three different tiers we have, we give you the opportunity to get on a phone call weekly with a powerhouse in the field of entrepreneurship and philanthropy. You get the online Facebook community. You get authority events where you can come to Philadelphia, or we can live stream, and you get events such as credit repair, branding, marketing, and all this is covered by whatever package you choose, whether that's the gold, silver, or bronze. We have something for you to really hold you accountable and help you get to that next level in life. By the time, you probably can go to circleofgreatnessacademy.com. The website will be up shortly, or my Instagram is Neo Daviso. And the next open enrollment will be February 1st.
Wow. And I like how you close it off. I think a lot of times you see these communities pop up, and like you said, you weren't expecting 100 people in 2 weeks, but some people, they'll take on 400 or 500 people at one time, knowing that they're not even in a position to service them. So I like how you cut it off, right now, and then you'll open it back up as you get things flowing a little better. But that's awesome. So if anybody's listening and they're looking for accountability with some wonderful entrepreneurs, and like you said, there's credit repair, marketing, branding, all in one, please go ahead and visit Nehemiah's Instagram page, and the circleofgreatnessacademy.com should be launched by the time this episode is released. Neo, just a couple more questions for you. I'm
good to go. I'm ready.
Okay. Can you give that aspiring entrepreneur who's sitting in their cubicle at their job that they probably hate 3 actionable steps to become an entrepreneur today towards whatever they want to do entrepreneur wise?
One of my favorites. It might have to be 4 if that's okay with you.
Yeah. Go ahead. Give me 4.
The first step is you got to visualize the life you want. And when I mean visualize the life you want, I literally want you to close your eyes and think about the life you want to create for yourself outside of your job. Like, what do you see yourself driving? What type of business do you see yourself doing? How many people do you see yourself impact? So number 1 would be visualizing exactly what you want out of it. Once you visualize it, now you must take action. This is the thing that really stops most people. They never take action on their goals and dreams. So every year they find themselves being in the same predicament they were in the previous year. So action, that's one of the main things I'm pushing home to people. You must take action on your goals and dreams. You must, because if you don't, you will never succeed and you will never get to the levels that you want to get to. And once you take action, now you got to believe in that. You got to believe in the action that you're taking every single day, even when times get hard, even when you have $0 in your bank account. You got to believe with every ounce of energy that you have that your goals and dreams will eventually come true. When the Wright brothers in 1803 created the airplane, you know how many people didn't believe? Like, you know how many people looked at them like they were crazy when they said, hey, we're going to get in the airplane. We're going to fly from, I think, North Carolina to South Carolina.
Yep.
You look at somebody like that, absolutely nuts. But that's how you got to be about your goals and dreams. You got to look at them and know without an ounce of doubt that, I can make it come true. And once that happens, lastly, you got to stay committed because time's going to get rough. I tell people entrepreneurship is not going to be easy. You're going to have empty bank accounts. You're going to have people who don't believe in you. You're going to have people who up against you telling you all the reasons why it won't work. But you got to stay committed to that goal. You got to stay committed to that dream. And that's how you're going to succeed. In 1996, Tyler Perry started his company. It might be 91. I'm not sure. But he spent his very last $11,000 to do one of his biggest events. And guess what? 30 people came over the course of a weekend. All 30 people he knew. This happened for the next maybe 5 or 6 years straight. And eventually on that 7th year, this man finally blew. But you have to stay committed because most people give up after the first sign of defeat, not knowing defeat. After defeat, you're going to eventually win. So if I could say anything, visualization, taking action, believing in yourself, and staying committed. That's the ABCs of success.
Those are all great steps for entrepreneurship, for life, for everything. If you really want to be, truthful about it. And the last thing I can ask you, Nehemiah, leave us with an affirmation that you turn to when times get rough. I know you have a bunch of affirmations and quotes that you live by, but what's like the one go-to quote?
Man, I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Like that's a major quote for me because it's basically saying I could do all things through God. Like,
yep.
Even when times get rough, I got God. Even when times get rough, I know God has me in this particular position for a certain reason. So I gotta learn from it. I gotta grow from it. And I gotta utilize that to push me where He want me to be.
So guys, that was Nehemiah Davis. Once again, author, entrepreneur, philanthropist from Philadelphia. I told you it was going to be a great interview. Neo gave so much information, and there were so many other things that I wanted to talk to him about, but for the sake of time, I actually may bring Neo back on in the future. He may have to be the very first guest that I bring on again, unless you guys want to hear from some other people again as well. Let me know. But real quick, like Neo mentioned a couple things that I think is key for us who are trying to become entrepreneurs. Number one, you have to have perseverance. Number two, you have to have a winning attitude. And number three, the will to succeed. Like, you have to be able to push past the points of being disappointed. You have to be able to push past the points of being tired. You have to be able to push past the points where it seems like nothing is happening. It's all a part of the process. So guys, thank you once again for joining me today. Just a couple of quick things, housekeeping wise. So you heard Nehemiah talk about his program, The Circle of Greatness, which right now, technically, the Circle of Greatness is closed. What Nehemiah has decided to do is that he is going to open it up for anyone who wants to join, but you have to mention the College Dropout Podcast when you inquire. So guys, first things first, follow Neo via social media. His Instagram name is NEODAVISO. On Facebook, he's just Nehemiah Davis, but follow him via Instagram, NEODAVISO. If you want to join Circle of Greatness, which I highly recommend if you want to become an entrepreneur, especially if you want to be an author. Neo owns his own publishing company. So if you want to become an author, if you're just looking for the right energy and figuring out what it is you want to do, I highly suggest it. And if you're in Philadelphia, definitely want to be a part of something great like this. So contact Neo if you want to be in Circle of Greatness. Remember, it is technically closed right now, but he's decided to open it up for any of my listeners. Second, guys, thank you for continuing to support. I still need those ratings and reviews. So if you can go to my website, thecollegedropoutpodcast.com. After you finish listening to this interview, there's a star that says leave a review. Just click that button and it'll take you directly to the iTunes page where you can leave the review. Third, guys, there's something called show notes that I'm going to be talking about a lot more. What show notes are is it's basically snippets of the interview, things that my guests will be mentioning. Like I told you last week, when my guests mention books, programs, anything like that, there are going to be links available for you on the website for you to go and check those things out. These are resources. So, for example, there will be a link on my website directly to Neo's journal, which I have, which is an awesome journal. I actually bought that journal for, I think it was 5 people for Christmas, and they all love it. So go to my website, click on the link, go to Neo's website, purchase the journal, invest in yourselves. 2017 for me is going to be the year of sacrifice. And in order for me to invest in myself the way I really want to, I have to sacrifice. So guys, like always, thank you for joining me. I'll see you on Thursday. And you know the line, make the week intentional and make it impactful.